welcome to this is episode 16 of the Orange and Blue Crew. Myself, Giant Reek, and um, there's definitely no love lost in our most recent the last time we seen our Knicks on the floor. I think we lost you there for a second. Reek, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we lost your camera for a second. I don't know if you knocked something out, but um, oh, there you go. But yeah, we played some preseason games. And of course the most recent one being against the T-Wolves, which got a little spicy uh in that game. So we'll talk about that. But we also have a game tonight against the Hornets. It'll be our second time playing the Hornets in the preseason, which is like, it's the Hornets, so you don't know how much of a look you're gonna get. But I don't think a bunch of our guys are playing. I saw like the underdog notification that listed a bunch of guys that won't be playing. So I guess it'll be a chance to look at the young guys for tonight. But let's just start with something that Reek mentioned in the chat, which was a nickname for our wings. And he claims that it wasn't a Reek original. I loved it. I don't know if you heard it from somebody, but either way, I wanna get that on record as the new nickname for the wing defender. Wingstop. I
That's
love that.
it.
Macau OG Josh Wingstop, like
That's
that's
good.
fire. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Wingstop heard of it, but I'm sure they didn't make a ton of money on the Detroit Pistons promo last year. I don't know if you guys know. Yeah, they had they had the promo where I think or they probably didn't have too many people that got to use the promo, whereas like if the Pistons won, I think you got like five free boneless wings or five free wings at Wingstop the next day. Obviously that didn't happen until
Yeah.
about 30 games in. I forget how long the losing streak was, but the fans in Detroit didn't even get to use it for the first, 2, 3 months of the year. And then I think they won what 14 games total. So that's not much of a promotion. But I think there could be real gold with Wingstop and the Knicks.
Yeah.
Where did you hear this Wingstop name, Reek?
Well, I'm a TikTok devotee, so I think it had to be somewhere on TikTok. That's pretty much my only social media at this point.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Can
I don't know.
confirm he does send a lot of TikToks.
I have no idea. But yeah, I think I either read it or saw it in something that scrolled by, but I thought the same thing. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Wingstop. But
I'm
we got to get some damn stops. We gave up 8 threes to the Ant-Man the other night, which was pissing me off. But
Yes, which
I
is
digress.
well that is where I wanted to steer the conversation because our first two preseason games were against two teams that I think um we could consider them, they'll more likely than not be towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference, towards the bottom of the league. But we did get a look at the Knicks, who played, their starters and their main rotation guys a lot of minutes. Just looking at the box score, McCall played 30 minutes. OG played 29. Well, really 30. Cat played 30. Brunson played 25. Josh Hart played 25. Precious played 20 off the bench. Campaign played 20 off the bench. Deuce played 25. And Landry Shamet played 22 minutes off the bench. So you really got a full look at essentially what the rotation is. No Kolek in that game. Not sure if that was a rest thing because he did play a lot of the Washington game because we blew them out, and a lot of the Charlotte game because it was
Bro.
our first preseason game. And considering that he's probably going to play a lot tonight, I'm not sure if that was calculated rest or not. But didn't get a look at Kolek running with mostly the main rotation of guys. So interested to see kind of how that develops. But it was a 115-110 win. And before we get to the drama, Jai, if you could just, we'll open up with just your thoughts and your takeaways from the game. It was, like I said, probably the best look that we're gonna get at the Knicks before the regular season gets here next week, which is crazy to believe. But just what did you take away from that game? What did you see? What did you like? What did you maybe not like?
Um, that was an interesting game. We started off really strong with OG. I mean, OG came out, I think he had like 14 points or something in the first quarter. He was on fire. He was playing exactly how I want OG to play. Confidence from all three levels, hustle on defense. I think JB had a slow start. Cat had another slow start. So I love what I saw from OG. Macau looked shaky at the beginning, but I really liked how he settled in and found shots for himself since it didn't seem like there were any really built-in opportunities for him to get any. So I really liked how he was able to insert himself into the system and just be a glue guy and just fill where that's needed. And honestly, if we're talking about an attitude standpoint, what's going to take us to the next level while this team's trying to mesh together, it's guys like Bridges, who seems completely unfazed by the fact that he doesn't really have an offensive role on this team. We've seen like that not go not so well with like Josh last season, who was upset with his role in the beginning, and I anticipate he'll be upset with his role to go so far. He hasn't scored, I don't think, in the preseason. So I think that we're going to see something come of that, or probably an adjustment from Tibbs. But mainly, I mean, what else can you watch as a Knicks fan during the preseason besides Cat? Because you really want to figure out what you're going to get from him. Um, while my dad is on TikTok as his main source, mine is like Twitter. Uh, and I've seen Twitter reactions of people talking about Julius Randle and the Cat comparisons. And I know I'm a Randle fan, but I'm going to judge Cat through the same lens. And from what I'm seeing, everybody's like, oh, it's such a breath of fresh air, the shot selection, the spacing is wonderful. Brunson's getting looks that he hasn't been able to get ever, but Cat hasn't been to me, enough to feel that production so far. I'm not even just talking about, shots are gonna drop. It just seems like the type of shots that he's getting, the difficulty, nothing is really coming easy besides some open threes. So yeah, those are my initial actions.
And you mentioned that he was only 2 of 6 from 3. I think he was 1 for 5 against Washington, and actually he might have even been in 0 for that game. And then I think he was 1 for 5 in the game against Charlotte. So considering what he's advertised as, hasn't really been too knocked down. Reek, I see you have you got a face on like you're ready to chime in. So I'll let you just give your thoughts and opinions, takeaways from the preseason game against Minnesota.
The Minnesota game. I think Jai, you said something that I wanted to start with, where what adjustments are Tibbs gonna make? You pointed out, Jai pointed out a lot of things that I saw. I mean, we're watching the game together. Jai normally has to talk me off the roof when these games are going on, especially now with the Cat situation going on. My focus is on Cat. I would like to see that he has a more well-rounded game. I would have liked to have seen that out of the gate in that game. I'd like to see him go in with, let's say the instruction is to shoot those threes. Get a good one or get a good basket. Let's see your back to the basket game real quick. Let's see you drive to the rim or something that's going to get you going. Let me know that you understand that level of the game. So he came out and he shot, the first shot was a 3 that he missed, which is clear that's the instruction. But okay, I'm not going to harp on Cat for the preseason. These are preseason games. And he did show well at the 25, but he took him a long time to get going to get 25 in the game against the Wizards or the Hornets. I don't know whatever it was. Then he has 16 and 16, still not shooting well, but the numbers state that he will get better. He will, have a better percentage. What I do like is some of the some of the spacing that's being created, but then if we're thinking about the game becoming easier, the game's not going to become easier if Cat can only stand out there and shoot threes. And one of the big things is you're not incorporating the other guys, and you forced that yesterday or the other day with OG. And that's cool. But in order for this team, I think, to be successful, you're going to have to replace Randle. You're going to have to replace Randle with something. You can't just give away damn near 30 points and then 15 points from DiVincenzo with Cat. Because yes, Bridges came in. He's the replacement for DiVincenzo. Then you have Cat playing the center. But even when he comes back, when Mitch comes back, you're still going to have that lack of scoring. So we need, in order for me to feel comfortable with this team, I need to see that Bridges is going to average over 18 points or more. And I need to see that OG Anunoby is going to be incorporated into this offense where he makes 18 points or more. I can see that happening with Bridges coming, being that sub that comes in with the second unit. But then how do you take Josh off the court? What Tibbs wants him on the court consistently. And is he playing power forward? I don't like it. I don't like the makeup of the team. It doesn't make sense to what the style that I've been accustomed to watching. So in that game, I was just sort of disappointed watching what the team is. And my last thing is the Cat drives to the rim. Horrible. It's just like sloppy, and it's an injury waiting to happen. I just don't like, he's driving, he's taking these long strides, and he's going against the center guy, and he's always on the floor. He's 7 foot tall, 250, 260 pounds. You're always on the floor when you drive to the rim. It doesn't look polished to me for $60 million. But again, it's the preseason. Maybe we get some opportunities to see him in a better flow. But I don't see any of the big man moves, maybe like a little bit of a hook, a push shot, a pump up and unders, any of that. So I'm waiting to see. I wasn't really that impressed in that Timberwolves game. And the defense was not good in the first half. And, it was kind of meh.
Yeah, I agree. Just kind of not the best showing from a team that has finals aspirations, and when you're a team in the Knicks who also has these aspirations, you want to perform even if it's a preseason game. You at least want to look look like you belong. They do get the win, but again, that was with guys who will be playing. I mean, Brunson's going to be playing 38-40 minutes a night. Josh Hart's going to be playing 38-40 minutes a night. Karl Towns probably going to be playing 32 to 38 minutes a night, what have you. So not the full look per se, but definitely I feel you on that. Just kind of a meh performance. Speaking on Cat, or staying on the topic of Cat, through 3 preseason games, 10 points in the first game, 25 in the second game, and then 16 against Minnesota in that game. And it's not necessarily the amount of points. It's more so I'm looking at the percentages, and I'm kind of like you, Reek, where I'm wondering, everyone's complaint with Randall was, it's not easy. I think Randall figured that out last season, which we've talked about on this show, is, Randall changing his game from step back jump shooter to bully, getting back to his bully ball like he did in high school, like he did at Kentucky. And in these 3 preseason games, and again, it is preseason. However, we're talking about 20 attempts in game 2 and 13 attempts against Minnesota. Cat has yet to shoot over 40% in any preseason game. And
right.
Like you say, the law of averages, the law of numbers suggests that we're going to get, a couple of 70% games, a couple of 65% games, what have you, which, that comes with being, a big man and playing inside. The issue is when you look at how the Knicks are using Cat, which again, you talk about what looks like the coaching, what looks like the instruction, Tibbs likes to run that weave play to start the games. And it looks like they're very content with running that and Cat popping the 3, just because the guy is going to most likely, the big man's going to most likely immediately run to the paint, run inside. So Cat should have a free look like 80% of the time. But Cat on 3s is 4 for 19, so I'm not, my concerns with this trade are, I mean, we're again, it's only preseason, so we'll have to see what happens in, real games, but my concerns are kind of coming to fruition where Cat isn't the type of player that Randall is, that you can just say, oh, they'll swap production. No, I mean, like, it's crazy to me that I've had to argue this with people. I mean, you're literally taking a guy who averaged 19 points a game and 9 rebounds and less than 3 assists, and you're thrusting him to replace a guy who averaged more everything, more points, more rebounds, more assists, and shot a similar percentage. Cat was 46% last season. I think Randall actually might have been even 47 or 48% last year. So Julius even shot better. So you're asking this guy
With a
who's
better shot diet. With a better
right
shot
with
diet.
inside shots, with layups, with high percentage shots. Cat, it's still, even in this is year what, he's 28, so this is year
9.
9 for him.
9.
So in year 9, it's still, he has those, the drives look clunky, they don't look polished. I don't know what his go-to move is. It's like he's still catching it and figuring it out. Like, okay, what do I want to do with the ball this time? Instead of when I get the ball, I look at just comparatively speaking of centers, Jokic gets the ball and he has a plan. He's going to most likely catch at the high post. And if there's no pass that he can make, he's taking one dribble. And if he can't get by you, he's backing you down. And it's quick. Embiid, for as much as we rag on Embiid, that he has a plan when he gets the ball. If he gets it at the high post, he's going to catch. He's going to throw some jabs at you and shot fake. And if you're not going for that shot fake, he's pulling that jumper because he can hit that at a high clip. As soon as you buy him the shot fake, he's going by you. If you don't want to buy him the shot fake for you're playing good defense, he'll just take you down low and he'll bully. Like, he has a plan. Cat, I don't know what his plan is yet. And while maybe we could say, yeah, well, Brunson gets different looks, maybe he gets cleaner looks. Are we really, let's just fast forward to the playoffs. Let's say the Knicks are in a playoff series and coaches can really scheme and they can really look at what your strengths and weaknesses are. What evidence do I have that I can't believe that, if we match up with Miami and Eric Spoelstra dares Cat, say, hey, we can double. Cat might be a good player, but the most he's going to score is 25.
We're going to bring it right back to Iman Shumpert. What did Iman Shumpert say in the playoffs? The other day, it was the most chilling remark that I heard. He said, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of that combo. And it's not because of Brunson. Because if I'm going to defend you guys, look, think about it. You got to think in the circles of the NBA what's happening. Do you see the reaction that Ant gave when he stopped Brunson on that one-on-one drive or that one-on-one attempt from the left wing? It was just one of those things that's like, I can stop him. I don't care about Cat. If this guy goes, I'm going to stop him. He made it stop. Not that he's going to do that every time on Brunson, but if Eric Spoelstra is scheming, you're sending somebody else at Brunson and letting Cat do whatever he feels like doing because they feel they can go one-on-one with him with Adebayo. Just on the Miami defense.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to, because I feel like this is the thing with Cat and with Randall. I think there's a deep breath that needs to be taken by everybody in the Knicks fan base. We got horrible production. I'm a huge Julius Randle fan, and as a Knicks fan, as my paramount, priority, I want Cat to be better than Julius Randle.
Yes.
When I think about, we're talking about the Heat, it's not a hypothetical. We played pretty much this same Heat roster. Brunson was able to get the production that we want from Brunson, except for like game 6. Actually, game 6 just came down to a bad turnover from him, but he had a good game all around. We got nothing from Julius Randle and still were able to get that production from Jalen Brunson. So if we go 1-to-1 in that scenario, then we know that Cat probably would have the upper hand, because if it comes down to size, I mean, Bam is not Cat in that regard.
That is true, but I would argue that for as much as you want to say Randall has playoff demons, has Cat not been a playoff underperformer?
But not to the same degree as Randall. That's the thing that, like, Randall has been. I mean, it pains me to say this. He is, at his shot volume, the worst playoff performer in the history of the NBA. So it's just like, the truth is, we've had some great signature. Cat last season had signature playoff performances.
This is true.
Like, there is no reason that Timberwolves team should have been in the Western Conference Finals. I watched pretty much all 7 games of that series.
Yeah, minus Cat.
They were not the better team in round 2 against the Nuggets.
Yeah, because Anthony Edwards also disappeared. So I mean, that's growing pains. But yeah, without Cat, you're right.
So when I think about Karl Anthony Towns in the process, and I think about, I have to compare it to precedent, right? When it comes to people coming here and coming into a tip system, there are always growing pains. It happens every single time. It happened with Brunson. It happened with, Hartenstein was stepping into a completely new experience. He was a fringe guy getting minutes against sometimes third units. He was being used in second units with the Clippers, but Zubac was playing so many minutes it didn't really matter. So when he got a little bit more touches on the Knicks and he got a little bit more opportunity to be, I mean, the Knicks defense as a center, you're getting, especially back when Hartenstein first got here, you're getting funneled into. Like that is what you have to be the focal point when it comes to that. And Hartenstein couldn't handle that first. And his growth when they get into winning, when they get into the right, when they buy in truly to the Tibbs program, they completely change as players. So I'm not comfortable. And when it comes to preseason, like I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but when it comes to preseason, like with Randall, one thing I don't, as a Randall fan, I can't pay attention to efficiency in the preseason. I can't pay attention to total score because I mean, even last season he was just jacking up threes, getting volume up, and the team was playing super fast. But that didn't really dictate how the season was going to go. The way that the Knicks played, we could only judge them from beginning of the season to December 31st because that's when the trade was made. But the way they played in October versus the end of December was not the same. So, I mean, I can talk about it more later, but I mean, with Cat, there's a little bit more grace there that I think that, I mean, at the end of the day, I want him to be better than Julius Randle. And I
Right.
think
Yeah.
he can be.
Right. Yeah. I want that. I'm just, I can only, I don't want it to seem like I'm saying, oh, the sky is falling, but I can only judge Cat by what I've seen in these 3 preseason games. And so far, I just, I'm not asking for Cat to have 30 or anything, but the efficiency concerns me only because that's what Knicks fans have said. Oh, Randall and efficiency and blah blah blah. Well, it's like, okay, well, so far this guy's only shooting 38%. So I mean, there is grace. I'm not, the Knicks, we can lose by 30 next Tuesday, right? We can go to Boston and lose by 30. And the sky's not falling. But my concern is because the styles are so different. Randall's a guy that can, I don't want to say play point guard, but essentially initiate your offense. And Cat isn't an offense initiator. And outside of Brunson, who do you really trust that can get us into a set? Is it OG? No, OG's a guy who's going to catch on the wing and make a move or two and try and score. Is it Mikal Bridges? Not really. Even he's a guy who's going to catch it and look for his own shot. Is it Josh Hart? Love him to death. He doesn't have the handle for that. He got ripped. He gets ripped a lot. So when you reduce your offense to, instead of 2 guys who can, at least get you into something, and now you have just 1 guy, it changes things drastically. Cat can maybe get you into your offense from the high post. I won't say that he's incapable in that regard, but again, you're going up against the Timberwolves, who are a good defensive team, and he had 0 assists. Again, not looking for him to be Steve Nash, but he did have 0. He had 16 rebounds, which I love. That 16 rebounds, I'm excited about that. But 0 assists when
that's not what we're accustomed to from
when you're right, and when you're the replacement. And again, I think one aspect of the trade that we have to consider is it's not even just a Randall replacement. It's like a half of a Hartenstein replacement, because you're still looking at a guy that's playing the position Hartenstein played. And what did Hartenstein get really good at last year? Passing out of the high post, passing out of, from the low block, and hitting open guys. And
well, to Cat's credit, I did see in the game, and because I'm watching for that, right? Because if I'm looking at a 1-for-1 trade, Cat is here really in theory to replace Hartenstein, right? He's here to be a starting center, which Hartenstein was, and I can envision Mitch coming back and being on the bench. But we need to replace a power forward. And I don't think OG Anunoby is the key. And I toyed around with some lineups in my mind that, what if we put Precious out there? Jai quickly shot that down. He's like, it's not a starting guy.
Well, as you say that, I started thinking of maybe, you could do what Minnesota did, where you'd have Cat at the 4 and run like, Cat Mitch lineups.
It's a waste of everybody's time. But I did see that Cat has the ability to make those passes. And early on, that's what we got from Hartenstein coming into New York, was that he was a good shooter and he was a really good passer. We didn't, Tibbs couldn't get it together initially, but eventually we saw that he brought all that out of his game. And we knew, well, just from some of the reports, we knew that that's what he brought. I think Cat has that. I think definitely Cat has another level that he can get to if he completely buys into what's going on. But it's just painful to watch. is painful to watch. For me, like that's just me. For him, because I don't. There's something missing. There's something drastically missing from the team that we've come accustomed to them building.
Right.
So
I would argue that it's just the feel. I think Randall, when you look at the team with Randall on it, you think toughness, you think, we're not gonna get bullied, and Cat, to for as much as I respect him, he has a bit of a reputation of kind of being little brother. He gets sunned on the court, and that's just something that I don't think I mean, you had one of my favorite moments from last year was when we played Cleveland at Cleveland, and everybody was hurt. And then Josh Hart hit that three, looked at Donovan Mitchell, took his chain, right? Like that's just something that comes from your team's culture. Like I don't think that on a team where, and even Brunson, for as good as he is, and I don't think he ever really backs down from anybody, he's not really a tough guy, and he's also just short. Like he's literally short.
hey, settle
So
down, bro.
I mean, he's NBA short, right? So, Brunson being short, you had Randall to kind of be the, you're not just gonna mess with us. Cat doesn't have that. So I think that could be what it is. Because I feel like I know what you're getting at. And at least for me, that's what I think of.
Well, I'm thinking of that. You touched on it, and Jai touched on it. I think was the secondary guy that can get us into some offense. Like that needs to be on the starting lineup. That we don't have anybody that can do that.
I'm even just thinking of Julius. I just as like when you think of inherent playmaking instinct, Cat, I don't think will ever be a better playmaker than Randall.
Right.
Just because of the willingness to pass from Julius Randle, that when he got somebody that he trusted on the wing, how badly we saw him want to kick it. Like that's a point that you made, Dad, when we were watching the game. But it's true. And then we saw the quote recently, Randall in the interview talking about what he's going to do for Coach Finch. And he said he wants to go back to what he believes are his playmaking roots. He thinks that in his mind, when he's thinking of his basketball process, the Knicks needed more volume, so he was giving them that, but he thinks that he's a playmaker at heart. So I don't know if Cat would be able to say the same.
Right.
I think that's what we're missing. I think that's the aspect of the Randall game that we're missing, and we're seeing that on the court. You could easily focus on Jalen Brunson, and I just need to see, honestly, most optimistic. I just need to see what Mikal Bridges brings to the team. I just need to see what that is, right? Because Donte is replaceable. He's a professional role player, very good, had a fantastic season for us. They're different, right? And as build, we are getting much more with Bridges. And I'd like to see that there is some playmaking there, or there is some scoring ability. He averaged 20 for the Nets, but he was the focal point. I don't know what he has. I don't know what he can do. And they're just expecting that, hey, yeah, he's gonna be a plug and play, and we can. But doing what? He's got to come up with 18 points.
I agree. 18 would be lovely.
I mean, if RJ Barrett could do it, like on bad efficiency, I don't think that Mikal Bridges is gonna have any difficulty doing it. I mean, I really liked. Maybe I'm in the minority. I really like what I've seen from Bridges so far.
Okay.
Crazy straight at RJ. He's in Canada, like damn.
He has to do.
I know. Just down. He's like, oh damn.
Yeah. No, Mikal has been bad though. Mikal, I mean, he had 15 against Minnesota.
There's only 3 players with a minimum of 7 shots per game that are over 50%. Is Brunson, Kolek, and Bridges.
Yeah, I mean he's been over 50% the last 2 games, and he had 16 against Washington and then 15 against Minnesota. Won't play tonight, but I mean, yeah, no, he's been. It's just I'm wondering how that looks over the course of, because he did have times last year with Brooklyn where it got ugly, but I think part of that was, I think Brooklyn's got some internal, like they're just not. They had some stuff going on, and it wasn't a real good environment over there. But moving on to the side story of the Minnesota game, or you can call it the main story if you want, was some altercations during the end of the game, both involving, the two former Knicks, one with Julius and an assistant coach, and the other, which has been much more, talked about, because I think the Julius one kind of, it was a lot quicker. It was kind of just like escalated real quick and de-escalated fast. But the Donte DiVincenzo stuff seemed very personal and very telling. I think I might be on record saying that Donte kind of felt like, a little odd man outish, because I think if you look at how the Nova Knicks were painted, I think there's been a little bit of history rewriting. Like Jalen Brunson was always really good on that team, but I think people forget just how good Donte DiVincenzo was. And then you look at their career trajectories in the NBA, Donte maybe feels a certain type of way about just his view in terms of the Nova, guys in the NBA. I wasn't really too big on the Nova Knicks thing. I just thought it was, I mean, obviously it doesn't look like it, but to me, it was just like, look, you struck with Jalen Brunson and you get a couple of guys that he knows, and they also just happen to be good. I think if they were bad players, then I think you don't even waste your time, but they just happen to work out. So, Josh Hart, you get Josh Hart. Donte DiVincenzo, you get Donte DiVincenzo. But Donte, that was really telling. I don't know if I expected it to escalate like that so quickly, because it's, just preseason, but it got really personal. He said, and I have I don't know if you guys follow on Twitter, there's a page called Legends NBA, and it shows like the hit, like the mic on the court, like the on court mic that picks up a lot of like what the players are saying. You can follow, like it'll transcribe what's going on. You can watch that page and listen to what's going on. So Donte starts with, can't finish, right, Tibbs? And then, that's what happens when they let you run the show. Let dad be the coach. Now, there was speculation about who he was talking to. I low-key think he may have been talking to Brunson with that let dad be the coach thing. I'm not stamping it, but I mean, maybe he was talking to Tibbs and said let dad be the coach, but I think there was also like, it was like a double-edged kind of, I'm not saying they don't like each other, but I think Donte definitely feels the type of way about being shipped out.
Donte, he's on record saying he was talking to Rick Brunson on the sideline. That's what he said.
Okay. Yeah.
And that also checks out with the direction in which he was talking, because Tibbs was back there.
Yeah.
At the scorer's table almost, and he was on the free throw line, and he was looking like right across from himself like this. So I gotta say, and Rick Brunson was right there, and that's why Rick Brunson got mad at the end of the game, because I think that is it's got to be a sore spot. It's got to be a sore spot, and Julius Randle and Donte definitely talked about it. Definitely talked about it.
You think the guys are kind of not feeling Brunson being on the staff or something, or?
I think he is. I think he definitely has the ear of the coach, and so he definitely has a lot of say in the conversation. You got to consider, he was down there. You don't just get those jobs because they like you. He was down there in Dallas too, So Tibbs obviously has a history with him, but he's not like a great coaching prospect of any kind. He's been doing it for a while, but he's not like next up. Go ahead, Jai. What you say?
It is weird that he keeps moving up within the organization. Like he came on as,
Yeah.
I don't even think he came on as a assistant like coach. I'm not sure what he was at first. It was like some sort of analyst or
He was
something.
Jalen Brunson's father.
He is like third to the throne at this point. When it comes to like the coaching hierarchy, that's very strange. If you look at Brunson's coaching history, like there was no indication that this was ever going to happen for him.
Well, he's not a development guy. He's not any of that stuff. But he does have history with Tibbs, and he's been around Tibbs' system for a long time, so they can make a case for that. And this isn't the first time we've heard any of that, right? Mark Cuban, first thing he said when it was the tampering thing, he like, look, it's one thing, that we have our players, but then when the parents get involved, that changes things. Brunson was pissed off about that because that's what's going on. It's clear. It's clear that it's not clear that it's something happening, but it's clear that that is the assumption from everybody that's involved. Because remember, Randall is a World Wide West guy. So I'm interested to find out where that goes. I think World Wide West is cool with Rose, but then Randall left the agency.
Right. I mean, it was. I will say, I do like it from a perspective of like, I do think we need more. Like, we need more beef in the league. Like, I feel like there's not enough, like, hatred. There's not enough, f this guy. Like, well, because everybody always wants to. Work out together,
praying together at the end of the games.
Playing together, yeah, like, like praying. I'm all for praying to God, but I mean, hey man, look, at the end of the day, we got to have some sort of
get a little pissed off because you lost, right?
We need a little more heat. Like, I mean, I don't even think. I think last year might have been. I can't remember. I feel like every year in the NBA, there's like a signature physical altercation. I can't say that there was one last season. And I'm not saying
Gobert got choked out last season.
Oh yeah, that did happen. But that doesn't count. That doesn't count though, because Draymond was just looking for a reason. I'm talking like organic, like even though it was Rondo and Chris Paul, and I think Rondo was like had already been on record as like, yo, I don't rock with Chris Paul. Right. That was funny as like that would, but it was great. And it started a little like Lakers Rockets like beef tension. Like we need more beef in the league. I think the league is better when there's teams that don't like each other, when there's guys that don't like each other. Like, I like for even the Celtics, like I hope somebody starts something on Tuesday. Even if
I hope Cat changes his whole perception by piggybacking on that whole Joel Embiid fight, because I think Philly's tough. I know you guys don't care, but I think they're going to be tough. I think they're going to be there at the end. Embiid's already not doing back-to-backs. They're going to save him. They're going to put him in bubble wrap. And
none of that translates.
That doesn't matter.
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
But listen.
So Embiid doesn't play in back-to-backs. Let's say they play.
Tyrese Maxey is tough.
That
motherfucker is tough, man.
Let's say they play 12 back-to-backs.
Still.
They got Paul George.
But Paul George already almost got hurt.
About the playoffs.
He already almost got hurt. So you've got Embiid not playing in back-to-backs. Let's say they have 12 back-to-backs this year, and even that might be too much. I don't think they play that many anymore. Let's just say hypothetically they play 12. What if they go 1-11 in those back-to-backs because you don't have Embiid playing? That's going to drastically change your season. Let's say Paul George inevitably, with all due respect, knock on wood, all those things, inevitably is going to miss. We're going to get a notification. Paul George expected to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks. Right, like with some sort of injury, right? And Tyrese Maxey quietly got hurt last year for an extended period of time. He was out for like a month. He missed at least like a 2 to 4 week stretch during the season.
But I tell you what, right now on Cat, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at about a 7 on Cat. If Cat come out against Philly at any time during the season, in the first game of the season, and showed, now he don't have to fight, but just to show me that he don't rock with Embiid, like I'm not shaking your hand, or I'm not, whatever.
The first, because our first game's against Boston.
I know, but I'm talking about when we play Philly.
We might not play Embiid for a while because both of their first games against them are
back-to-backs with Philly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get one of them. If he come out, if he comes out and goes at Embiid, he gonna move up to an 8 for me.
This is interesting though. It's the first time we played the Sixers is actually in season tournament game.
Okay, so he'll
So
probably
like, do you think? But I mean, they already said no back-to-backs. But does that come with exceptions to the rule? Because I think I mean, the NBA, the guys took it seriously last year. Everybody in the NBA took the in-season tournament. Like those games were really like turned up a little bit. So like, I mean, that first one being a cup game, maybe he plays in that one.
Yeah. That's what he got to do. Boston is more on the team, right? And all right, if they come in there acting like, hey, yeah, guys, we like you guys and we're okay, then whatever, I'll be disappointed. But if it's a team thing, we need to match up to see where we stand. That's a barometer, a sort of barometer game.
One thing I think about the Sixers for my final verdict is there are 3 teams in the league that are heavily relying on their team staying healthy. The Grizzlies, the Sixers, and the Knicks, because they have the most, I mean, from the top talent, have the most injury-prone players.
Yes.
I'm a huge Tibbs defender. There is one coach in maybe the history of the league that plays players more into the ground than Tom Thibodeau does.
Bolster?
And Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse. Nick
Oh
Nurse.
my God, Nick Nurse! I feel like no one talks about how criminal he is. That guy will play. He used to have and sorry to cut you off, Jai, but it just
no
brought me
problem.
back to when he was in Toronto. Like his last few days in Toronto, bro. He was playing Scotty Barnes, Precious Achua, some other dude with an African name, Fred Van Vliet, and Gary Trent Jr. Like, bro, I looked in the box score. It was like 47, 45, 44, 47, 40. I'm like, damn, like, does anybody get a break on this team? It's crazy.
Last year, Tobias Harris was playing 40 minutes a night and doing nothing. So what is
Where's Tobias Harris at now?
The Pistons again?
The Pistons back with Detroit.
They brought him back. They don't. It's a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
I'll take Tobias on this Knicks team as a power forward.
I think we could still. Oh, he's on a new deal with the Pistons. It's still $20 million, something like that.
I'll take Tobias over here. Send them Precious.
He stank. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm passing on that. Also, I'm seeing that we play the Timberwolves on December 19th. So that'll be a good game. It's not on prime time for whatever reason. I mean, I guess the network's
we out there or we home?
That'll be out there December 19th. And then we play them at home on January 17th. So
we should go to one of them. We should go to a Minnesota game. We should go to the January 17th Minnesota game.
Well, if I'm still here, would love
to.
If
you still
I hope to not be
here.
All
right, if Jai is still here. If we are, then that's a deal. Then January.
If the Knicks make the Final Four of the NBA Cup, then y'all have to come to Vegas because that's where the NBA Cup Finals are.
Really?
We can Final Four. Happen. But yes, so January 17th. Neither is on primetime. I feel like that should have been a primetime game regardless.
They make adjustments throughout the season.
I don't think they flex as much as like the NFL. Like the NFL just flex the game. But I don't know. I hope so. But I feel
you remember the televised, you talking about the televised games?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started like 3 seasons ago. We started with like 4 televised games, ended up playing 14, 15 on TV.
Because the one at home against the Timberwolves is it's a Friday. And like ESPN does NBA Wednesday, NBA Friday, but last year though, there were a lot of just Fridays where there were no primetime games, which is very odd. I look forward to Fridays because I know there's going to be an East Coast primetime game and a West Coast primetime game. But there were a lot of Fridays where there was either neither or just a late game. Like that was annoying because we would get the Wednesday games that week. Like Wednesday, they don't miss NBA Wednesday, but Friday they just like got away from that. I don't know why. I love NBA Friday. But Reek, I know you gotta get going soon. So just any final thoughts? I mean, I think we had a real good discussion today about just the preseason and the altercation, the smoke in the garden a couple nights ago. But any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Jai, what you got?
I don't have anything. I think we covered all bases. I'm excited to watch the young guys play as much as I can for this game. But yeah, I'm just one thing. I just think one last thing we could do. We got first 10 games, a difficult schedule. What do you think that our record is going to be?
I think we'll lose to Boston. I think we'll I
Losing
think
out the gate.
yeah, but not
Yeah,
even like out of a I don't believe in it. It's just I think it'll probably be one of those games where like it'll be
It's
close.
ring night for them too.
Yeah, it'll be, it'll be close all the way through, and then I think maybe there'll be a sequence of Boston 3, Knicks miss, Boston 3, Knicks miss, Boston 3, Knicks miss, and then it will be playing catch up and we will just run out of gas. I think we'll beat Indy because I don't think Indy's that good. I think we'll beat Cleveland because we're their fathers right now. Damn, this is really we opened Boston, Indy, Cleveland, Miami. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wow, that is tough. Uh Miami on the road, we'll probably lose. So that puts us at what, 2-2. Then we get Detroit, easy win. Houston, easy win. Hawks should be a win, but we always play them weird at their place.
So far 5-2.
That's 5-2. We get Bucks. We'll be close. I like our chances. So we'll just say 6-2. Indy at their place, I'll give them the win, 6-3. Then we get the Sixers at home for in-season tournament, 7-2, and then the Bulls at home. So right or no, that was 6-3. So 7-3 after the Sixers in-season tournament game. Yes, I think best
You
case
think we
scenario.
lose to the Sixers?
No, I think I gave us that as a win. I think I gave us the Pacers at Indiana. I gave that as a loss for us. I think that'll just be like it'll be a Sunday afternoon game at Indy. They'll play energized and hit a million threes and piss me off. But then
I think we're gonna be 6-4 or 500. I think the Bucks are gonna have a early season resurgence. I think and I think that the Sixers playing against us are going to be I think they're going to be more ready than we are. Because again, if you guys remember, like I said, so I think like that's 2 away from yours. You had what?
well, yeah, 7-3. I would say is best case. I'd say anywhere from 5 to 7 will be. I'd be
Yeah,
shocked if we didn't
I'm
win at
saying
least 5.
500. I'm saying
Yeah.
500 because I agree with the others, but I think those two. I don't think we win those games only because I think this is those first 10 games we're going to be figuring out a lot, and it's not
Yes.
an indictment on our team. It's just
Yeah, and it
I think
happens to
we'll
be
be
against
trying
good
to
teams.
push to go 500 because all of those teams are established, and
Right.
that really matters in the first 20 games of the season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we find out a lot in those
Mhm.
first 10 games, like even like who's playable and who's not. And then also what I think in those first 10 games, we're going to see what we're getting out of Bridges too. So
Yeah.
um,
No, I agree. And like even last year, we played our best ball in January. So,
yeah.
not too far fetched. But
What you got, Jay? How many?
yeah, Jai, what you last one?
Real quick, I've been saying 2025 we're gonna play really well. I think that this is honestly how I want the season to start. I want them to get it from the bottom. I think we're starting 3-7. I feel pretty strongly about that.
Ooh, 3-7. Tough critic.
Mhm.
Tough
Yeah.
critic.
And that's
All right.
tough coming from Jai. He's normally like the glass is half full. But yeah, I'm 5-5 for me.
I can see that though, 3-7, and then Stephen A. Smith on First Take acting like he watches the games, and
And Carl Anthony
then we
Towns
go on a
gonna
run.
catch a hell of a lot of heat. He
Yeah.
catch a hell of a lot of heat. So we're gonna see if he New York ready.
Yeah, early. So that'll do it for episode 16. Thank you all for watching. This has been Reek, Jai, and D. Getting ready for the regular season. We're just a week away. Can't wait to get going, and we will catch you all in the next one.